It's time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Chad Erickson. Good to have you with us on this Thursday edition of the show. A lot of football in the program, some NBA, a little NHL. Dennis Bernstein will drop by in 20 minutes to talk about that. And I got a bet for you later in the show. Oh, do I have a bet for you? You won't want to miss that. But we start things out in the NFL with Sam Yarnell, who's back with us after his midday siesta, or his midweek siesta, his day off that he takes. Sam, I want to talk about something that has been in the headlines here over the last 24 hours, and it's this conversation because we need something to talk about. There's, a week in between waiting for one game or two games as it would be, and then we're going to have another 2 weeks off before we wait around for the Super Bowl. Which is always fun for us in sports media to fill. Just so we know, we just love having 2 weeks to sit here and spin our wheels. But I want to talk about this conversation about Patrick Mahomes potentially being the greatest of all time if he wins a third straight Super Bowl and 4 in 5 years. And I think it's a fair conversation to start having. But just because it's a fair conversation to start having doesn't mean we have to all become prisoner to the moment and start trying to take things to a level where I just don't think they are yet. While I think it would be one of the great achievements that we've seen in team sports history for a team to win 3 straight Super Bowls and 4 in 5 years. And while I do think it certainly makes them a dynasty, in the overall scheme of what we talk about as dynasties in sports, Tom Brady's still the greatest of all time. Plain and simple. And my reasoning, and some of my reasoning on this is simple. First of all, Patrick Mahomes has been, for most of this season, was a lower third quarterback. Maybe, if you want to go, middle of the pack guy in this league this year. For most of the season. Now, I know he hasn't turned the ball over since November or something like that, and everybody is giddy about that, and that's great. But when you're talking about the great quarterbacks in this league right now in the way they're playing, Patrick Mahomes has not been in that conversation. Has he made timely plays? Yes. Has he made us hearken back to some of his great days with some of the plays he's made? Absolutely. But to say that in the thrust of this Super Bowl run, and frankly the one they made last year to get to the Super Bowl, the last 2 seasons, his regular season play has not been that good. It has been average to above average at very best if you really want to stretch it. Now, that being said, Tom Brady. If you take Tom Brady off the Patriots and replace him with anybody else during that run, they're probably not winning those Super Bowls. If maybe sans Aaron Rodgers. I can't say the same about Patrick Mahomes for most of this run. I think there are great quarterbacks playing right now that if you placed them in Andy Reid's system, with that defense being especially what it's been the last couple of years, you're telling me Josh Allen couldn't win Super Bowls with that team over the last couple of years? Come on. Tell me Joe Burrow couldn't win Super Bowls with that team the last couple of years? Come on. Of course he could. Do I think Patrick Mahomes will be on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks when all is said and done? Probably. Do I think this, if they win this one, 4 in the last 5 years, 3 straight, puts them in a dynastic conversation as maybe the greatest dynasty of all time? Yes, I think it does. I think it does. But to call it Patrick Mahomes, cement him, greatest of all time, I think there are a lot of people who quickly forget just how great Tom Brady was. Sam, I want to get your thoughts on this, and we will in just a moment. But first, a word from our friends at Edge Boost. I am always trying to take my sports betting game to the next level, and you could do the same with our friends from Edge Boost. I love telling you about these guys, the financial platform that pays you cash back to wager. Edge Boost is an online bank account. It pays you for every deposit. With the Edge Boost Visa debit card, you're getting up to 0.5% cash back on all your sportsbook, daily fantasy site, and casino transactions. It's free money back in your pocket just for doing what you're already doing. It's a no-brainer Plus, your Edge Boost debit card starts with a $250,000 daily limit, and it'll never be declined for gambling activity. They've got built-in tools to help you stay responsible, and there's absolutely no hidden fees or minimum required balances. So stop leaving money on the table. Visit edgeboost.bet to learn more. Sign up today. I'll do you one better. You see the QR code right there? It's on your screen. Click that QR code, and right now you'll be upgraded to VIP status with Edge Boost. It's just for us here on SportsWrap. Shh, it's our little secret. Go and click that QR code. edgeboost.bet. All right, Sam, your thoughts.
Yeah, so here's why the Kansas City Chiefs, regardless of whether or not or when they, I guess, as I've said on this program, win this upcoming Super Bowl, they're not even going to enter the stratosphere of the 2000s and the 2010s Patriots. I do think that a lot of this comes down to us confusing greatness and talent for the amount that they're hated within the NFL fan base. Here's the thing. The most important difference on the crux of it between Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes to me is this. Patrick Mahomes is finishing his 8th season in the NFL. Obviously, that first season, he kind of just rode pine, started or played in one game. Same thing happened for Brady, right? He only played in one game his first year, too. So the purposes of this exercise, we'll use the first 8 seasons of Bo's career. The 8th season of Patrick Mahomes' career, as Jason said, had him a middling quarterback, seeing a near ceiling in terms of interception rate, a near floor in terms of passing yards, and quite frankly, probably the worst all-around season of his career in terms of quarterbacking. In Tom Brady's 8th season, it was the best season of his career to date. He threw for over 4,800 yards, which at that point led the league. He threw 50 touchdowns, which again at that point led the league. The interception rate for Brady that year in 2007 was a career low. This is the difference between good and Hall of Fame great. So, now that the quarterbacks are aside, Jason and I are going to fundamentally disagree on the fact that I think Bill Belichick is, was, and always will be a better coach than Andy Reid. That said, Andy Reid is going to approach him in terms of wins. So the coach argument could get interesting. All of that in thought, you've got to remember that defense in New England had Hall of Famers on it. That defense in Kansas City has maybe one. At the end of the day, Patriots and Chiefs, they're just in different universes, Jason.
Time will tell. I mean, there's still time left in this run, obviously, with this group. The one thing I'll say about the Belichick Reid argument, and that's another segment we can do on another day. Maybe we'll do it in the 2.5 weeks we have leading up to the game. Bill Belichick never did anything outside of his time with the Patriots. Andy Reid went to a Super Bowl. Just saying. Something to consider. Oh, that's later in the show. We're coming back. More NFL. Segment 2. Let's do it on this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap. Reminder, on Friday's show, Robert Littall will drop by, Black Sports Online, get his thoughts on, well, everything that's happened this week in sports. I want to talk to him about all this mishigas between like fellow sportscasters that we continue to see. See the Ryan Clark, Marcellus Wiley beef that's going on right now? Go and Google it. You'll be happy you did. It's just, but I couldn't. It's kind of funny. Wait, Sam, I can't hear you. Hold on. What'd you say? So just not to get off track, but
go ahead. I tried going back through Twitter and figuring out where it all started.
I'm having the same problem.
It's so deep at this point that I couldn't figure out what started all of it all. Or if someone was on TV sometime that I missed it. I need someone to do a TLDR on the Ryan Clark, Marcellus Wiley beef.
Explain to the people over the age of 45 what TLDR is.
Too long, don't read.
See, there you go. Yeah, I would agree, because I was trying to, this is going to be a TMI moment. I was in the shower today watching the Marcellus Wiley video, because I have a thing in my showers that I can watch videos while I'm showering, because I don't like to miss a single my prep time in the morning includes my shower time.
Yeah, so that's good for your mental health.
I was watching Marcellus Wiley's, one of his latest videos, talking about this whole Ryan Clark beef. I might be able to get Marcellus on the show. I have a contact.
Maybe he could explain it to us then.
I think that's a good idea. I love when some of these guys leave the network jobs, by the way, and go just like to YouTube or whatever platform it is. No, I like it because they don't give two whats. They will spill tea without any problem. All right, back to what I plan to talk about in this segment. Read the headline on the screen. You can see it. Aaron Glenn is coming home to the Jets. Hey, the Jets are the kings of winning the offseason. And yet again, before the offseason even begins, you can make the argument they are winning the offseason with one of the best. I thought it was the best guy for their situation. You know, I think Aaron Glenn kind of fits sort of the personality of this Jets team. They struggled defensively this season, particularly when Jeff Ulbrich got pulled off of his responsibilities with the defense and became the head coach. This defense was kind of up and down throughout the year, and I think a lot of people expected better things from it. But as much as we could sit here and talk about Aaron Glenn, coming home to try and fix this Jets problem, and look, he understands the meat grinder that New York is. He played there. He was a corner with them, and played that position really well for them before, moving around the league and then winding up in Detroit with the Lions, where he did a great job with that defense. But there's another Aaron that's still sort of the fly in the ointment for this team, and that's Aaron Rodgers. And they've got to figure out what they're doing at the quarterback position for next year. Otherwise, all the defense in the world isn't going to save the Jets, just like, all the Kingsmen couldn't put Humpty back together again. It's sort of that situation here when you talk about the Jets, that the great coaching hire that could be Aaron Glenn, and I say could be because you just don't know. There was a time where Bears fans probably thought Matt Eberflus was the answer too. The answer they've got to get figured out is still at the quarterback position, Sam. And I want to get your thoughts on that, and we will in just a moment after a word from our friends over at Credit Associates. Are you $10,000 or more in credit card debt right now? In over your head? Trying to make monthly payments? A lot of us are. There's a powerful debt relief program the credit card companies don't want you to know about. Overcome the debt trap of multiple credit cards, high payments, and high interest rates that keep you in debt for decades with one affordable low monthly payment. Credit Associates Debt Relief Program can help you resolve your debt in as little as 24 to 36 months. What are you waiting for? It'll save you thousands of dollars and decades in debt. Find out how much you can save right now. Call 1-800-747-5362. That's 1-800-747-5362. Our friends at Credit Associates, or just click the QR code below. Sam, what do you have to say about Aaron Glenn being the new Jets head coach?
Yeah, so it's fine. I mean, I'm more upset that such a good head coaching candidate is going to waste such an opportunity in a place like East Rutherford with the Jets, quite frankly. Listen, when we talk about the Jets, Jason Page, this is a team that has in excess of $62 million of next year's cap tied up in two guys whose ages combined to equal 75. What? So while Aaron Glenn, congratulations and great job securing the bag, no doubt, you're walking into a situation as a defensive guy that has an offensive problem. So I don't really know what to make of all this.
If this were around the horn, I would have gone bing, bing, bing and given you a bunch of points for that one. That's good.
It feels, and let's not forget, right, the last time this Jets defense, who coming into this past season was this vaunted beast who was going to carry them to a division championship, well, they haven't really looked like an above-average defense since Robert Saleh walked out the door. Here's my point in all of this. It feels like they're backtracking over the Robert Saleh firing and hiring another defensive guy to try and fix that defense and put patches on that offense. Again, the franchise has suffered so much disarray, it's not at a point where something like that can fix it completely. So, Jason, yeah. I do think, by the book, it's a good hiring. It's not going to fix this Jets problem.
To go back to the Rodgers thing, I was thinking about it before the show today. If you're the Jets, who are you going out and getting that's better than Aaron Rodgers played, particularly in the second half of last year when he did actually start to play better football? Who are you going and getting? You're not getting that person in the draft. So let's eliminate that. So where are you going if you're the Jets that changes the trajectory of this franchise right now? Considering, what we've seen here over the last 2 years, obviously the lost year with Rodgers and the Achilles, and then this year where they got off to such an abysmal start, really didn't matter what happened in the second half of the year. They were basically out of playoff contention by, middle of the season. Where are you going? Is it Kirk Cousins? Is it, trying to make a trade for, I don't know, Justin Fields and get him out of there because Russell Wilson still appears to be the starting quarterback for the Steelers? Like, where are you going as a franchise in this offseason? Is it back to Sam Darnold for a year? What are you doing if you're the Jets right now, Sam? I don't know. And we only have 5 seconds, so.
Yeah.
I guess we're not
Draft
answering.
a wide receiver.
I guess we're not answering that question today. Dennis Bernstein talks hockey next. Good to have you all with us on this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap. Let's talk some pucks. Nobody better to do it with. Love cutting it up with this guy. Dennis Bernstein, the fourthperiod.com, SiriusXM, NHL radio as well, hangs out with us on the program. All right, DB. We've talked about disappointments in the league this year, and we could talk all day about the great teams, but, we've talked about the Rangers, who I actually will get to in this segment because they're actually playing better hockey as of late. But, the Bruins had this, awful start to the season. They fire Montgomery. And you go and look right now. They had another terrible loss last night. What's going on in Boston with the Bruins?
Well, the Swayman thing, I think, caused a lot of problems. They were better in goal last year, but when you have to pay a guy who's young, who certainly deserves the money, even though he hasn't played a ton of games, and it's just disrupted because they didn't have training camp. He came in late, and to be honest, they were maybe doing it with mirrors. Their style of play, last couple of seasons, the games were always close, and they had guys who could finish. Their goaltending was better, so I just think that there's not a lot of talent on that team outside of Pasternak. Like Marchand's getting older. Lindholm's okay. McAvoy's like a second-tier defenseman. So I don't think they're that far away from the team they really are. I think that they overachieved the last couple of seasons because pound for pound, they never had the most talent-laden roster, Jason, but they played so well connected. And Montgomery got fired, so maybe there's a disconnection with respect to how they play on the ice, the way the team is focused off the ice. So I think it's just a confluence of things. And the Bruins kind of deserve where they are right now. They're not like underachieving here. I think this is what they are. They're a marginal playoff team right now.
I said let's mention the Rangers and let's stay in the East. They've been disappointing all season long. Now you look up, all of a sudden they're 2 points out of a wild card spot.
Yeah, because none of these teams are any good. Like they shouldn't be battling for a wild card spot. They should be battling for the top with Washington, Carolina, and New Jersey, which is really falling on hard times. But instead, they're battling Columbus. We did our SiriusXM show on Saturday, and we picked the 2 teams that would finish in the wild cards. And in the East, I picked the Rangers. Like they should get in. Like they're that close. They still have talent. Like maybe the room's waking up. That all that huge valley they went through with all the rumors with JT Miller and Kakko being traded. It's kind of subsided, and they are pound for pound still, I think, a really good team. Are they as good as Washington or Toronto or Florida right now? They aren't, but they should be good enough to get in the top 8. And so it's not necessarily a referendum on the Rangers playing better. The only other teams around them are mediocre. So they're in a mediocre race right now, which they really shouldn't be in because of the start that you mentioned.
Trade deadline. Give me a thought on sort of where you think, some of the big names that can move. We talk about the Rangers obviously being a team in the mix. Where could you see potentially some big moves when it comes to the trade deadline?
Well, I think with respect to Colorado, they have a guy in Nathan McKinnon who may win another MVP. If not, he'll probably finish runner-up to Leon Draisaitl. But they don't have a second-line center. When they won, as great as Nathan McKinnon was and Rantanen was, and when Landeskog was playing, they had Naz Kadrian as a second-line center, who was a really, really good second-line center. The kid they have it now, Casey Middlestat, isn't really that guy. So if the Islanders looking to trade, let's say, a guy like Brock Nelson, he'd be a perfect fit in Colorado. But they do need, so that's the one team that you think of as a contender that has a pretty substantial gap with respect to the second line center, which you can't really have unless you win a championship. And then there's a lot of chatter about Pittsburgh moving on from these players. Like, there was a chatter out there about Kyle Dubas saying that the many players on the roster, even their signed to longer-term contracts, are available. Not saying that you're going to be able to trade for Sid Crosby or Geno Malkin, but that's a team you could probably look towards. And the Islanders as well. I don't think they're a playoff team. So it's more about like who can sell here, because I mentioned to you, there are a lot of teams in the mix for a playoff spot, but the GMs here over the next couple of weeks before the Four Nations break, they have to be real with themselves, saying, okay, are we really a team that could get up into the top 8, or should I still have some of my assets? So you'll see these teams like a Pittsburgh, a New York, certainly a Buffalo, which is disappointed for, the 97th consecutive year, Jason. So I think it's a question of, which teams decide to sell and how quickly they decide to sell.
Which contenders do you think the break benefits the best? Is there a team?
I think maybe a team like Vegas that has a tendency to be a little bit banged up and is a little bit older on the roster. I think that would be a team that maybe get to, and they don't have a ton of players, I think, playing in the tournament. So I think that would be one. And then I think the Devils need a kind of reset. So maybe somebody's, because there's like a handful of games left, Jason, maybe 4 or 5 for these teams before we hit the break. Maybe some of these coaches look at teams that are not playing well right now as a reset. So I'd say those are a couple of teams I look at. Vegas because of the age, and Devils because they've kind of gotten off the tracks here with respect to chasing down the Caps for the Metro Division lead.
Well, I was going to ask you that. I mean, they've lost 4 in a row. What's going on there right now?
Their scoring isn't there. Like they have a lot of they have great depth, not great scoring depth. So
I saw Mark Stone talking about sort of, the middle of the ice and taking care of the puck better there. I mean,
yeah. They look. It's 82 games. These teams go through valleys. They haven't played terribly. They haven't played winning hockey. And they're making that one mistake or making that one turnover that winds up in the pucks in the back of the net. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about Vegas, but I don't think they're a clear winner in the Pacific. I think Edmonton and LA will have something to say about it. But they hit a little bit of a valley here because of its execution and just lack of goal scoring sometimes.
Very interesting. And obviously Edmonton right there. The Kings have been right there. And we haven't talked a lot about the Kings, in these segments throughout the year. I mean, they have been unbelievable at home. Throughout the season. What do you credit their success to this season?
Oh, they over the last, I'd say 6-7 years, they haven't been good at home. So that's number one. Number two, they're the second best defensive team in the league. Like they don't score much. The power play is atrocious. I think it's 29th. I think overall they're 20th. They don't score a lot, but they're in every game. Like Darcy Kemper's had a redemption season coming back, traded for Dubois, which was a lightning rod here in Los Angeles. So I just think their attention to detail, the willingness to check, and every man on the roster that plays is willing to play defense, to make that defensive play, not necessarily the offensive play. So their success so far has really been based on solid goaltending by Darcy Kemper and a defensive system that some teams just can't penetrate.
And boy, we didn't talk about them, but the Capitals, just steady as she goes. Just steady. Won 5 in a row. We talk about the Kings and their home record. The second best home record in hockey belongs to the Capitals. What a ride great it's been for that team, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's a great story. Unexpected. Look, they made the playoffs as a fluke last year with a -37 goal differential. This team looks like a championship team right now. They're confident. They have a superstar in Ovechkin, and they have a great coach in Spencer Carper. It's a really feel-good story in Washington right now.
Dennis Bernstein does a terrific job on all things hockey. TheFourthPeriod.com and SiriusXM NHL Radio. I always appreciate you, my friend. Be well. We'll talk soon.
It was a pleasure, JP. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
We're coming back. Let's take it to segment 4 on the show and talk some more NFL, because there's a lot going on there. Sam Yarnell, what would you do if you were the Tennessee Titans? The team has made some statements that would lead people to believe that Travis Hunter is the choice for them at the top of the draft. I almost wonder if you're the Titans, and I don't know if this has been brought up by other people because I don't tend to listen and watch what a lot of other people say because I feel like sometimes it will skew my perspective. Sometimes it makes you think differently too, which isn't a bad thing. But sometimes it will make me change the direction of what I want to talk about on a show. So I try not to watch what too many other people do and say. But on the Travis Hunter conversation and on the Titans situation, I do think they find themselves in an interesting dilemma. Is there a scenario where they would ever trade this pick? I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. And I don't know if it's been discussed as a possibility, because if Travis Hunter, and I know some people might want to say a once in a generational player, he could play both sides of the ball, all that stuff, which I still think is less realistic than people realize at this level of football. Doing it in college in the Big 12, that's one thing. Doing it amongst the elite of the elite in the sport, I think, is another. Now, I know they might put him on a snap count and try and do it that way so that they don't burn him out. But I think it's less realistic than some people realize. Maybe I'll be proven right on that. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. But I almost wonder if that's the best you can do in this draft, and you don't have a quarterback to throw him the football anyway. So what difference does it make if he's a great wide receiver or not? If Will Levis is throwing him the football, I just wonder what you do if you're the Titans with this pick.
I think it's interesting, right? I hadn't, honestly, that kind of broke my brain a little bit thinking about trading it. I'll just talk to you about in terms of the odds, right? This is something interesting that I've been thinking about and toying with the idea of, and I'm sure I've mentioned it on the show a time or two, definitely with Bill Bender, but I've never really taken action on it, and I should have after we saw what happened yesterday. Obviously, the Titans GM comes out and says, we're not going to pass up on a generational talent, right? And that's what's kind of started this whole discussion. The number for Travis Hunter to be drafted first overall at the time of the national championship or leading up to the national championship was 25-1 plus 2,500. We saw it during the regular season of college football as high as 100-1. Yesterday, the Titans GM comes out and says that number gets cut from it had gone down to 10-1, down in half to 5-1.
Wow.
And now we're looking at it, and he's the second favorite to go first overall at plus 155. So the books are very much bracing for Travis Hunter to go first overall to the Tennessee Titans. But listen, I'll say Cam Ward being the favorite to me still does not necessarily speak to the Titans maintaining the pick. And really, once you've said that, you start to think, what are we talking in terms of hauls, right? Haul back for the first overall pick they'd be trading. And listen, so we have to base it off of kind of sort of the Panthers Bears deal from a couple of years ago. You get the first overall pick in exchange for a next year one and a couple of 3s and 4s down the line, along with a cornerstone player. I don't know. It's hard to think of like what teams would be interested in that deal.
Yeah, that's my question.
That's happen.
That's my question: is who's trading up for Travis Hunter? That would be
especially in this draft.
Yes, that's my primary question. We'll come back to this in just a moment after a word from our friends over at Credit Associates. Did you see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last night? Career high 54 as the Thunder lit up the Jazz. Wow. I mean, the guy simply did it all, just like SGA taking it to the rim. If your credit card debt has been blocking your financial freedom, it's time to break through. Credit Associates can help you slam down your debt for up to half of what you owe. It's the kind of move you want to see in your financial game. Don't wait another quarter. Call 1-800-747-5362 today. See how much you can save. Credit Associates, when it's time to make a play, they've got your back. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, get in touch with them. To see if you qualify for debt relief today, call 1-800-747-5362. Visit creditassociates.com or just click the QR code below. Isn't it amazing how much the stock of Shedeur Sanders continues to drop here?
I don't know, man. Like, Yeah, no, no, it's not amazing. This feels like it was so predictable. And Jason, I mean, I know there are a bunch of analysts who talk about his talent. Listen, I'm sure they know better than I, but as I don't know, as someone who's been around football for a decent amount of time, there are a lot more talented quarterbacks we've seen come through this system very, very recently, right? So I didn't really understand the hype. To me, there's a new angle of it kind of developing for me. And it's almost, are people using Shadur to get to Dion? Like it really
Wow.
felt like that might be the case.
Just blew up my brain.
And now, as you see Shadur's draft stock start to, do the famous decline, as we see so frequently, a player will be right near the top and end up going in like the 4th round. I don't know, man. That it's come to my mind a couple of times, and especially now the Dion to the Cowboys thing just feels like a possibility to me.
Oh, don't worry. Brian Schottenheimer's getting that job. Cowboy fans' heads are exploding right now. I mean, is Cleveland moving up for Travis Hunter? No. Are the Giants? No. New England? It's the first spot I see an opportunity for it. We're coming back with more Sports Wrap. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap. Odds and Ends wraps it up next. Oh, I got a value bet for you. You're going to want to hang around for that. Hopefully it works out better than my bet last night. Last night I actually lost 2 NBA bets last night. Little confession here, Sam Yarnell. I lost 2 NBA bets last night. I was 0 for 2 on the NBA. One was the T-Wolves. I'm sorry, was the Mavericks losing at home to the T-Wolves because Jason loves his home dogs. And the other was the Golden State Warriors on the road last night in Sacramento. I went to bed. They were up 17. I said, I could put this one to bed. I'm going to put myself to bed. I'm going to sleep early tonight so I can be up at 5 a.m. to bring this wonderful show to all you fine folks. What happens? The NBA is what happened. Mavericks lost by 1. And Golden State, who was up like 17 or 18, lost by 7. 123-117 as their miserable season continues to unfold there. So they lost to their rival in Sacramento, Sam. Come on, I want you to make me feel better somehow.
Bounce, bounce, bounce.
That's what you got for me?
So here's the problem with the NBA, right? This is here's the problem with the NBA. We're however many games into the season, like maybe not even at the All-Star break, right? Isn't the All-Star break in like late February? It's after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
MVP market -600 favorite. Defensive player of the year market -600 favorite. Most improved player of the year market -160 favorite. Sixth man of the year market -170 favorite. Coach of the year market -550 favorite. That is five different awards that have minus money favorites less than or before the All-Star break, because I know we're a little more than halfway through the season.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously this is just one small faction of it, right? But like, if the MVP award is as good as decided here on January 23rd, which again is what the odds indicate, because you factor out the percentage chances, they're giving Shea a 90% chance to win this award. If that is the reality of this situation, that in and of itself is the problem with the NBA. Because think about the NFL, right? Josh Allen, at this point, comparatively, in the NFL season, was still like 3rd in the MVP odds. right? Lamar Jackson was like second. Patrick Mahomes was the favorite. Patrick Mahomes was a league. We talked about it earlier in the show, like below league average quarterback this year.
Yeah.
So my point in all of this is this. I think
there is a point here. There is a point here. I just wanted to make sure.
Jason and I have kind of gotten to this before.
I cede the floor to the gentleman from New Jersey.
Such a long season.
Wow.
So many different twists and turns.
Yeah.
But we get to these finite results, or seemingly finite results, halfway through. That's what draws people away. So I think what Jason and I said a couple of weeks ago on the show about how to fix the NBA is the perfect answer. Shorten the freaking season. That's all.
So is NBA off the court drama better than the on court product, Sam?
Well, the on-court product sucks, so it's gotta be.
Oh God, you and Dennis Bernstein should jump in a room together. He feels the same way every time we talk about it. You think about the Jimmy Butler stuff going on. Who's getting traded, who's not getting traded. Sort of what's transpiring right now as it relates to Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley. For those who missed it, Jimmy Butler suspended for 2 more games for missing a team flight. I mean, Jimmy's going full on like Minnesota Jimmy right now. He obviously wants out of that situation, and he's trying to force his way by making life as miserable as possible for that franchise right now. And again, outside of Phoenix, I don't know what team is looking at this situation and going, yeah, I want that guy, and I'm going to give you a long-term contract, knowing that this is how you behave. So that's one topic unto itself. Then you get this. My God, it was like 3 years ago that Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole in the face, and somehow we're still talking about it because Jordan Poole's still talking about it sort of passive-aggressively. And then you got Draymond coming back and saying, what he's saying on his podcast that he does. And I'm just left to wonder, if you're Adam Silver, obviously you can't do anything to make players not be dramatic and this WWE sort of mentality that the league comes with. But I'm just wondering if you're Adam Silver and you're watching all this, do you like it? Do you not like it? Yes, we're talking about your league, but we're not talking about Victor Wembanyama playing a game in Europe later on Thursday. I mean, I don't know.
Who cares? Who cares? Quite frankly,
wow, this is an octave I've never heard you hit.
It's the only thing that Adam Silver better be happy as a freaking clam right now, because that is the only thing keeping his league relevant. If I'm Adam Silver, I am paying LeVar Ball to host an NBA version of TMZ on the daily, but you have complete access to everything. Let's see how it works out then. I guarantee you the ratings will come back.
This is why Sam really takes Wednesdays off, because he knows we have Kurt Heelan for 2 segments to talk basketball. I'm convinced. We're coming back. Odds and Ends wraps it up next. Okay, just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Thursday. Friday Sports Wrap will include Paige versus the Prince. Championship weekend picks for you. And I'm hoping when we resume the fun and frivolity that is Sports Wrap with Jason Page, you will have won money on a pick that I'm about to give you in Odds and Ends. Odds and Ends, Sam Yarnell, I got a winner for you. If I could do like those texts that I get 7 times a day, and I don't know how they get my phone number, telling me we've got winners, 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 I would do it for this one. Best value bet in sports today, Sam Yarnell. You know what it is? It's Ben Shelton at the Australian Open. I said it when the matchup was consummated a couple of days ago between him and Jannik Sinner. And back when I said it then, the number was plus 810, meaning 8-1 on Ben Shelton. That number now on FanDuel is plus 1,000. 10-1 on Ben Shelton to beat Yannick Sinner. Now, they've played 5 times. Shelton has beaten him once. So you could figure out, what the winning percentage is. But it's a great story. He's beaten him. So it's not a question of can he beat him, because he's already beaten him once, Sam. Ben Shelton, your value bet of the day from yours truly at plus 1,000. You can price shop. Maybe you'll get it at a better price.
I was going to say, I guess I'll have to ride. I price shopped a little bit. I found a little bit of a better price. So your boy got in at 11-1.
Okay.
Don't mind that any which way at all. Listen, we'll see. I guess I'm putting my money on Jason Page's bet. So if I lose, it's his fault.
I'm trying to figure out how the number, maybe you could explain this to me, being more of a pro at this than I am. How does the number on Shelton go from 810, which it was before we started the show, just before we started the show, to plus 1,000, when Sinner's number right now is minus 2,300? Are you telling me that heavy money is going on Yannick Sinner, and that's driving the number up on Ben Shelton?
So there are a couple of things that can happen, right? One of the things is the thing I talk about all the time, advanced positions that the books will have, and they'll reevaluate them, or they'll take money on other futures, which will cause, when we're talking about a semifinal, it'll cause the juice on that semifinal to move, right? If there's a large bet on Yannick Sinner to win the whole darn thing, then obviously he's going to move to more of a favorite, and in turn Shelton would move to more of an underdog to win the semifinal match. What I would guess, to answer your question directly, though, yes, there are at different places, right? There are people in the industry who will analyze a line, even if it's a heavy minus money. They'll say that is not accurate to the percentage this player has of winning this match, and they'll bet against the book on that line if they consider it bad. There are also people who are what we call VIG hunters, right? And there are people who literally just make money betting off of VIG in different places. That's another thing that could have moved this line, but less probable because of the direction it moved.
One more thing I want to get to in Odds and Ends, which is presented by our friends over at Edge Boost. Have you checked out Edge Boost yet? If you haven't, what are you waiting for? It is the way to go if you are a sports bettor. Take your game to the next level with Edge Boost, the financial platform that pays you cash back to wager. Edge Boost is an online bank account. It pays you for every deposit with the Edge Boost Visa debit card. You're getting up to 0.5% cash back on all your sportsbook, daily fantasy site, and casino transactions. Free money back in your pocket just for doing what you're already going to do. It's a no-brainer. Plus, your Edge Boost debit card starts with a $250,000 daily limit, and it'll never be declined for gambling activity. They've got built-in tools to help you stay responsible, and there's absolutely no hidden fees or minimum required balances. So stop leaving money on the table. Visit edgeboost.bet to learn more. Sign up today. Better yet, don't even go to edgeboost.bet. No. Just click that QR code below, and you're getting upgraded to VIP status automatically just for being a viewer of SportsWrap. Edge Boost. Go and check it out. So, I've only got a minute and a half here. But can I just say one thing, and we might talk about this a little more tomorrow on the show. Can people stop harassing this poor 11-year-old kid that pulled the pull of a lifetime in baseball cards? On the screen you see it. It's the Paul Skeens 1/1 debut patch auto that Topps puts out for a lot of guys every year. This was like the holy grail of the baseball offseason, was people hoping to pull this card. An 11-year-old pulled it. The Pirates have offered him 30 years worth of season tickets behind home plate and an experience in a luxury box with Livy Dunn and a softball game on the field with 30 of his best friends. And now Ken Golden over at Golden Auctions, who you know from the Netflix show, is trying to get him to put it up for auction so the kid could have, tons of money to sort of swim around in at 11 years old, which his parents will obviously have a say in. But Sam, can I just say this? Leave the kid alone. Let him figure out what he wants to do with the card already.
Yeah, I agree in principle. No, I do. I agree wholeheartedly.
All right, 30 seconds.
That is, stop bullying the kid. the thing is, if you really think that they cut up the jersey from Paul Skeen's debut and put it in a card,
no,
crazy.
Come on, no, don't say that. Come on. Tin foil wrapped around your head somewhere that I don't see? We gotta go. Thanks to Dennis Bernstein. What a buzzkill. We'll see you all tomorrow.